Yay!
Putting our legs behind our head. How flexible can we be?
What compromising position? No, never mind.
Exactly. That's another
Don't
podcast.
go there. Too late.
Too late. Welcome, everyone. We are the Frequency Effect. Kim and Veronica. Recently revised name. I'm happy with that evolution.
Aw, me too.
Yeah, it's like
Me
I
too.
love in the name. Thank you, Kim, for bringing it through. And
Yeah.
it just feels like a new chapter in some way, shape, or form.
It does. It does. Well, so you started to say we were called, and then you said, "I'm so happy."
We were
so we were called
energetics. Yes,
energetics. Yeah.
energetics.
And you know what? Frequency effect is like, it's how we show up everywhere. What frequency am I being, even when I'm compromising or think I have to?
Yes.
So let's go there. Let's play. Do you want to launch the compromising and the flexibility, or do you want me to?
I want you to.
You want me to? All right, cool. All right. So, and listen, consciousness can be fun, people. If it sounds like we're like airy, no, we're doing it. It doesn't have to be such a serious game. It can't, it should be fun, right? Anyway, so yeah, so compromising, it can get a bad rap. It can be, it's kind of like, where in my life am I compromising? Because I feel like I don't have a choice. Because I don't feel like I have a choice. Like I hate my job, but I have no choice but to do it because I need the paycheck. And so, I'm compromising my morals. I'm compromising my joy. I'm compromising my purpose. That's because I feel like I have no choice. That's different than what we're talking about here. So when I can see that sometimes compromising is a gift, it can be a gift. If I'm not willing to compromise ever, I've got myself in that cute little box with a bow on top and I'm functioning from what I believe is right, wrong, good, and bad. So when I'm not willing to compromise about anything, that's really rigid. But what if I got curious? And there's some things, we don't want to compromise on. That's true. We're going to talk about that. So there are things that, I'm not compromising. But if it's something that challenges or devalues my own values, that's different. If it's betraying my own soul, that's different. So like the job example there, for example, so where is it that you're compromising because you feel like you have no choice? So yes, there's that angle of compromising, but there's also the compromising because you can be flexible. Now I'm not going to be flexible if it goes against all my own values, right? I might look at my own values in that moment, right? And just check in on that. Are those still actually true for me? Yes or no? However, when it comes to compromising with how somebody else is choosing to show up in the world, can I be flexible in what they have to say? What's actually their own style without losing my own style. So like sometimes it's like, hey, can we compromise on this? Yes, no, yes, no. Oh, you know what? I can, as long as I'm not going to lose me in it, as long as I'm not going to disempower me by doing it. Maybe I can be flexible on this particular thing here. And maybe I can't. But that is self empowerment and knowing what you are being in alignment with. If it's not in alignment with my values and my truths, I don't need to compromise. If it is, and it doesn't really matter, can I be flexible? And so there's a lot more to be said around that, but I want to pause there, Miss V, and get you to share.
Thank you. Love it, love it, love it. There's a few themes that are coming up that are topics that we've talked about before, right? One is the observer. So we've had a couple of episodes, I think, talking about the ability to observe yourself while you're operating in life. And so this for me, in the way that you've presented it to us, it requires the ability to observe, right? So I'm interacting with my husband or my daughter or somebody at work, and there's an interaction happening, and at the same time, it's an invitation for me to observe my reaction, my initial default response to the conversation or the experience, observe it, and then to contemplate. That's another theme. That's something we've also had some episodes on, like contemplation, right? Contemplating. So we're observing my reaction to the situation, and we're contemplating, before immediately responding. So instead of going into that default response, which is how, just our programming, how we've been wired, we can observe, we can contemplate, and then we can decide. We can make an empowered choice. Do I compromise, or do I stand true, because this is something that requires me to hold true to my values? And so and that can happen in seconds, especially once you've been doing this for a long time. It's not like you have to say, okay, let's pause the conversation. I'm going to go to the room for 30 minutes and I'm going to think about it all. I'm going to observe, I'm going to contemplate. Once you start practicing this and doing it often, you're doing it as you're living. It does help too, to have those carved out times for contemplation, to get clear about your values and what is your truth. But as you're operating in the world, you can do it all in that moment. So I think about it as you presented it to us. For me, I think about it in terms of my relationships, like especially my close relationships, because that's usually where the compromise happens, when it's, further out in the spheres of connectivity. Then I don't encounter the compromising as much, but I compromise often with my husband. He's compromising often with me. I'm compromising often with my daughter. She's often, I don't know if she compromises with me. I have to think about that. I guess she adheres. But it's really in those close relationships where that surfaces, and it can be really tough. And so it's often about observing, contemplating. Is this really something that I need to hold strong on? Is it really serving me? Like, it's something that you always say, Kim, like, what is this creating? If I am not willing to compromise here, what will it create? And so I think it's kind of weaving together all of the things we've talked about in prior episodes.
I know, it's so exciting. Like I said, this is just where I went this morning, right? And folks, contemplating can also, you can sit and contemplate, like Veronica said, and take that pause. Another way of contemplating is, it's just a kind of a question that kind of is here while you're going about your day. And so it's kind of like, oh yeah, I wonder what this is all about. And you kind of have that in your back pocket. I don't know why I'm doing this. Maybe you can have it on the top of your head too, for those who can't see them moving hands, mine. But anyway, so it is that the flexibility. Compromising can be a flexibility. And if we can't be flexible with life, oh my God, that's a pretty harsh, there's no flow there. That's the word. There's no flow there. We're being really rigid. But again, it's about looking at, where am I willing to compromise? Where am I not willing to compromise? And sometimes it's later on that you get to go, oh geez, I was just being so rigid there. But here's what another piece that came with it all this morning for me was, when I can be flexible and willing to compromise, when it doesn't rob me of my own self-empowerment and betray my own soul. When I can do that, then now we've got a team. So instead of me doing this is how it is, boom, and you having to, then I'm asking you to compromise, aren't I? Right? But when I can say, okay, so this doesn't work for you. Okay, cool. Now what? And what do we, and so we go back and forth, and you and I do this. We'll go back and forth. Now we have a team. Now we've got a friggin' team, right? Instead of me having to be a leader all the time. Dear God, like, stop it. Just stop it, right? There's no community in that. And so, yeah, can I take the lead sometimes? Yeah, I'm speaking right now. You're not. So I'm taking the lead in this moment, but it's not compromising you, right? And so this is just an example of where it is on our everyday. Yeah, we're all leaders in our own life, but that includes you. right? It's not that I'm leading you, I'm leading me. And now we get to see, okay, what's actually true for me in this. And so when I can be flexible and compromise because I'm still in alignment, that's a key. If I'm still in alignment, then I can compromise and be flexible. I don't have to, it's just a choice. In that, now we're a team, and in that, what you're sharing adds to my own bounty. It adds to my own bounty. What an interesting word, bounty. Like it's a word.
Yeah, it's not one I've used.
I know, it's so cool. Bountifulness. It's my city in my evolution sphere in Gene Keys. But anyway, so yeah, that's where it came from for me. So yeah, so when I can be willing to, like you said, listen and observe and experience where you're coming from and be flexible to that, oh my God, that can open up so much more for me. That adds to my own evolution. That adds to my bounty, to my own gifts. And now we're also a team where I don't have to do it all by myself. Dear God, like if I think I have to do it all by myself, I'm working way too hard. And you know, I'm probably feeling alone. I'm probably feeling misunderstood. And you know, AKA control freak of nature, right? And so yeah, there's many times when we compromise. Again, how do you know if you're compromising and it's betraying your own soul or you're not in alignment with it? Because it's got to be still in alignment with you, right?
That's true, yeah.
And that's your values. And so for me, it's the frequency, right? The frequency effect. So you know, if it feels really heavy for me to do that, that might not be in alignment with my own values. And I can always revisit my values, because a value can become a what? A program. It can, right? It can become an outdated belief system as well. So I get to check in freshly. What is this for me? Veronica's saying this, that, and the other thing. Oh, that's not where I thought we were going. Let me check in with that. Okay. Is there something here for me? You know, it's checking in. Where am I at with this? Can I look at my own values, or is this totally, no, I'm not willing to compromise on that? That can end relationships, and often does. Right? It often does. But when I can include you as part of my team because I love you, then we can add to each other's bounty. I'm going to look up the word bounty because I'm just curious.
Ooh, I love it.
I know. I don't know. I think of a pirate. I don't know. I think of a pirate when he's going after the bounty.
Oh, right, of course.
Know.
I'm like a bountiful
Anyway.
basket of fruit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think about, okay, so in my marriage, my husband is very whimsical. He doesn't like routine. He's like, he wants to be like last minute decisions, last minute plans. Like the thought of planning something a couple days in advance is like he doesn't get it, right? But then nobody's available last minute, so then he has to suffer with that. So he's very like, and I'm very much, I live a life of routine. I have a corporate job. My daughter goes to school. Like we've got, but so he's really compromising to adjust to the more routine life. But then there are times where I'm just tired, or I just feel like being in my routine, and he's like, I want to go here and do that, and let's do last minute, and who cares about how long it's going to take. And so in those moments I really have to check in, like, do I need to honor my body? Do I need to really take care of myself and say no to this? Or am I okay to look at what I'm creating in our relationship to nurture that relationship and to just go with him, even if it's not my initial feeling to go with him, right? So that's one where it's like, I'm always having to look at, am I going to compromise what I feel like doing in the moment so that I can just allow him to feel that freedom and be with him within it? Or do I really need to honor my body in the moment because I'm just exhausted and I need to nurture myself?
Right. And so I love that you brought it in that way, because it's like, there's going to be times when you say no. No, this is a no for me.
Yeah.
And times you're like, you know what, it's not that big a deal. It doesn't really matter. Sure, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one, like I'm thinking about my daughter, and I'm like, one that I'm navigating lately is she's turning 9, so she's starting to pick up bad words, right? And so, I don't like it, but I also am like, she's going to be exposed to it the rest of her life. And so my immediate reaction is to shut it down. I'm talking about things like stupid and dumb and, those kinds of words. She's not at the big words yet, but she'll get there. So it's like in the moment, my immediate reaction is like punishment and shutting it down. And so I don't know if this is compromise or not, but so you can tell me if it is. But I really have to self reflect and think about, okay, well, how can I best serve her in this moment? Like by showing her, like, okay, you're going to be exposed to these words and sometimes you're going to use them, but you need to understand who you're with, the right environments, the right people, when it's okay and when it's not. And what is that creating through what you're saying, right? So I have to really, maybe that's not compromise, but I have to really stop myself and self reflect and think about, well, where can I not have that initial reaction and where can I choose something different that's going to be more supportive and contributive to her and her development.
You know what? I love all of that. And as you were sharing, inviting her to check in with, is this the right environment to call my grandmother stupid? I think that you're actually, so she might be thinking that, right? She might be thinking that. And at the same time, I think you're sharing with her the responsibility of, is this somewhere where you actually have to say that? It's kind of like this. So I think it is. It is a flexibility and a compromise through self-awareness and knowing what it might create. It kind of reminds me, like, I've been in relationships where I felt like I've compromised my own integrity because I didn't feel like I had a choice to leave. That's a big compromise. And I've been there in my relationship that I'm in now, where I have felt like, oh my God, like this is just not good. But I didn't have the resources to leave. So I was compromising a big part of me. And let's get rid of but. I don't like that word. And I was aware that I was doing it. So when I'm doing it out of awareness, that to me is different than just out and out doing it without awareness because I have no choice. I knew what it would create for me to leave. I knew all that. And I wasn't willing to choose that. It was still a choice. I wasn't willing to choose that. And so in that, I stayed. Was it fun? No, not at all. And because I was in the frequency of seeing my relationship as something that I had no choice around, do you think we get along? Yes or no?
50-50.
Right. And so that was the frequency I was being with it. And it was kind of me being pathetic, but I was aware that I was doing all that. I was not self-empowered at all if I was in the place of, I have no choice, life sucks, he sucks, everything sucks, and I have no choice. Instead of, I was aware of my compromise. I was aware of my own compromise. And I made a choice based on knowing what it would create for me. And I wasn't willing to choose that at the time. And so I didn't. And I'm still in that relationship and we're getting along better than we have in I don't know how long. Right. And it's a constant, especially with relationships, it's constantly checking in. Where am I willing to compromise? Where am I willing to be flexible? All of that kind of stuff. But yeah, when I was living in it as a compromise, thinking that I had choice, but wasn't willing to, that was really, really heavy. Life sucked. It did. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. So in relationships, and in our jobs and in our bank accounts and with what course I want to take, with what program I want to take, with what healers I want to work with, all the things, what purse I buy or shoes, or for me, it's mostly supplements and programs is what I use my money for. All of that can feel like a compromise. And so I'm wondering, where can we substitute the word compromise for flexibility? Can I be flexible here? Am I willing to be flexible here? If I spend more money than I make on that program, what's that going to create for me? And am I willing to compromise that? Sometimes, yeah, because I know it's like, oh my God, no, I get this program, whatever it is. Oh my God, it's so light. The frequency that when I check into it is so light that I get to know that's a yes for me. And I'm not compromising my yes. Especially when I get the energy of what it's going to create. So I wrote down the thing, being flexible without compromising values. That is, what was that other word? I didn't write it down. That's, boom, the word is gone.
Bounty.
No, but that's where the bountiness comes in. Because when I can be flexible with you and you with me, that is where I get to add to your bounty and you get to add to mine, as long as it's not compromising values. And if it is, just be aware that you're choosing it anyway. Don't make yourself wrong for it. Just be aware, yep, this compromises my values and I'm choosing it anyway. Just recognizing that it is a choice. We do always have a choice. And sometimes those choices aren't what we're willing to make. And sometimes we're willing to make them knowing what it's going to create. Yeah. So being flexible, compromising when required, and not compromising where it devalues the crap out of you.
Yeah.
I was thinking with you and Zara, there's times when you can't compromise with her. Right? No, you can't run out in front of that car. There's no compromising there. There's no being flexible there.
Exactly. Yeah. But can I let her to go to bed a little bit later than I'd like her to, which is very hard for me. My husband wants her to go to bed late, then okay.
Yeah.
It all comes down to consciousness, right? Like is awareness
and choice.
Of all of it. Yeah. Consciousness and choice. Yeah. Start observing. And so it's, an invitation is to really start monitoring, observing where you are holding strong to your choices, your decisions in your interactions with others or life in general. Where are you not willing to compromise, but maybe you could? And where are you being flexible? Or maybe you should think about, both ways, right? Where am I being too flexible and compromising my values? Where am I, where do I have opportunities to compromise a little bit more?
Competence.
I think I'm saying the same. Yeah. I think
I'm
saying the same thing. Competence. Okay, good.
Yeah, but you just rounded it up. It was beautiful. So being flexible without compromising values, that's competence. So if I'm not competent and I don't think I can do that other thing good, that's where I'm going to hold on to not compromising, because I don't think I can do good over here. So I don't think I'm competent there. So I need to hold on to this. And that's so when we can stretch our capacity to just try it on anyway. Oh my God, even that adds to our bounty. Woman.
I love it. Cool. Thank you for bringing the conversation forward, Kim. I love it. Love it. And thank you to everyone who's listening, watching, all the things. Your participation is contributing to the conversation.
To the bounty.
To the bounty. To the competence. We appreciate if you think that anyone could benefit from this conversation. If you pass it along and share it, that really helps us get out there. Likes, comments, subscribes. We welcome all of it. You're always welcome to reach out to us. And as you know, if you've listened to us before, we do have a 2-on-1 3-month luxurious coaching energetic experience called Unstoppable, where you can work with both Kim and I for 3 months. And it is fun and it is transformational and things move quick when they're ready to move. So if you're interested in that, all of the information's in the write-up or anywhere that you find us on Instagram, YouTube, etc. And you can always reach out to us privately for more information. It's included in all the details. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kim. Bye.
Go be flexible and don't compromise unless you know it's not going to devalue you. Be self-empowered.